I'm going to start a series on getting started in bushcraft. What you need, some of the skills that are kind of fun to practice, and taking advantage of where you can do some of these skills and practice some of this stuff. So this video is going to be about the kit. So stick around. All right, getting started in bushcraft. So maybe you've seen some videos on YouTube, or you've seen some stuff on social media, and you think, wow, bushcraft looks really cool, sounds fun, but man, I don't have hundreds and hundreds of dollars to spend on all of this gear, and I'm not ready to start spending a week in the woods sleeping underneath a tarp. Well, you don't need to do either of those things. And let's talk about the kit, what you really need. Just going out for a few hours, a day hike in the woods, and just trying to learn some stuff. So first off, some sort of pack. This is just a messenger bag I picked up from an Army surplus store. I've had this thing for years, just canvas. But I picked this up for I think less than 20 bucks. And any bag will work. You can run out and pick something up that you like, or a backpack that you already own. Hell, most of this stuff would probably fit in a 1 or a 2-gallon freezer bag if you just wanted to carry something like that. But let's get into what I think, just the true necessities of what you should bring to have fun and to learn some of this bushcraft stuff. You're gonna need some paracord. This is the UST 550 paracord. Walmart sells this stuff. This is 50 feet. Maybe 100 feet would be better, but 50 feet will definitely get you, be able to do most of the stuff that you're going to want to do and want to practice with. And this is like $5. So, 50 feet, maybe 100 feet of paracord. I got over here. We'll get back to that, and we'll get back to this. And actually all this stuff kind of goes together. So we'll get back to this stuff. Some sort of container. I'm going to recommend, you can get a number of different plastic water bottles, but if this is something that you think you're really going to enjoy, you might as well just go out and get yourself a stainless steel container right off the bat. There's so many more things you can do with it. You can boil water directly in it, and you won't need to buy anything else afterwards. There are tons of options. You can go with something like this. This is a canteen kit that you can get off of eBay, Amazon, a lot of different places. I think it's 20 bucks. You get the cover. You get the 1-quart canteen. It's not a wide mouth canteen, but stainless steel. It does have a seam. But I've used these in the past and they seem to hold up pretty well. And with it, you get kind of the old school handle canteen cup, which I kind of like better because it can't tip over. So there's that end. So like I said, the cover, the canteen, the cup, like 20 bucks on eBay. You can go the route of getting yourself a clean canteen, or the Pathfinder water bottle or canteen set. A little pricey, but this will do most everything that you want to do. Carry water, gives you the opportunity to boil water. I will say if you get one of these, pop the chain off of here and put some sort of small carabiner on there so you can actually take the lid off and set it aside if you're going to put this in the fire to boil water. And before you head out, make sure it's full of water. You're going to want to learn how to purify water, but let's make sure you have some clean water with you to begin with. Some sort of tarp. I just grabbed this because it was handy. This is the SOL Sport Utility Blanket. It's 5x7. I actually wouldn't recommend bringing one of these with you, just because it's pricey, and you're probably better off just getting yourself just a cheap poly tarp. And I wouldn't go 5x7. I think I'd go like 6x8 or 6x9. It's a little bigger. It gives you some more room to work under if you need to do anything underneath the tarp because of bad weather or some rain. And you know, this isn't a survival situation. You're going out there. You are going somewhere that you know, maybe a mile or two into the woods, and easily you can get yourself back easy enough. So high visibility, reflective material. This is a controlled environment you're doing because you want to practice some skills. So I would actually just go with just a cheaper poly tarp, maybe green if you want the dark appearance. You're going to want to bring a ferro rod. I would recommend getting a 6-inch long by 1/2 inch diameter ferrocerium rod. You can get the smaller, the Light My Fire Scouts and even the Light My Fire Army, and there's lots of other smaller ones you can buy. But you can get these. You can get a bayite rod from Amazon. I like the ferro rods you can get from 4 Directions Bushcraft, which is, I believe that's what this one is. They're like $15. They're going to last you forever. And when you have something this size, you're not fumbling around with these small little ferro rods and stuff that can get, especially if you've never used a ferro rod before, they can get, you can get frustrated using a small one like that. Just get yourself a big one, and it's going to be easier to work with, it's going to be easier to manipulate, and you'll just get less frustrated with a larger ferro rod like that. A bit lighter, I'm going to get back to that as well. A knife, a good belt knife. And you can get stainless steel knives, you can get all kinds of different knives. But, if this is something that you're kind of interested in, get yourself a high carbon steel knife, not a stainless steel knife. Full tang, high carbon steel. I don't really necessarily care if it's a Scandi grind or if it's a saber grind or a full flat grind. But the reason I'm saying get yourself a high carbon knife is some of the bushcraft skills that are, fun to practice are things like flint and steel. So if you buy a stainless steel knife and you want to practice flint and steel fire, you're going to have to buy a separate striker, a high carbon steel striker. Where you've just spent some money, buy yourself a high carbon knife. You've got your knife and a flint and steel striker. You can get something like this, which is a Condor bush lure, for like about $40, and for the same amount of money, you get yourself a Mora Bushcraft Black, high carbon steel. Make sure they have a 90-degree spine, so it's something that you can strike your ferro rod with. You don't need to get yourself a striker as long as you've got a 90-degree spine on your knife. The bush lure and the Mora Bushcraft Black are great budget bushcraft knives. And I think that's actually everything. That's it, and that's all. Okay, so we've got a tarp, we've got a stainless steel container, we've got some paracord, a ferro rod, and a high carbon steel knife. So what are some other things? As I said, one of the things you want to practice is try and get a fire going with flint and steel. You've got the steel and a high carbon steel knife. You just need to go and find yourself a good sharp rock. Go down your riverbed, start grabbing stones and strike them on your knife. See what throws sparks. Once you find a rock that throws sparks, you're good to go. In addition to that, you're going to need char cloth. So I'm going to tell you to bring an Altoids tin. Buy the Altoids, eat up the mints. Now you've got an empty tin, hold on to it, and bring it with you. You don't need to poke a hole in the top of an Altoids tin because the gaps at the hinge are enough to let the gases escape. And this is something that you can practice making char cloth in. So now you need something to make the char cloth with. Some sort of 100% cotton material. I'm going to recommend denim. Most people have an old pair of Holy jeans. Time to cut them off and make shorts out of them and tear the denim into strips, and now you can make char cloth with it. So if you bring the tin with you and you bring the denim, you can try your hand at making char cloth. And if you go back and look through my playlist, you'll see I have a series called Backyard Bushcraft, where I talk about a lot of these skills that you can do just in your backyard to learn how to do. But doing them in the woods, especially like char cloth over an open fire, just something a little more satisfying about it. And with all of this stuff, if it doesn't work the first time, that's why we practice this stuff. If your char cloth, if you don't do your char cloth properly, you keep trying it. It's, if you fail the first time, who cares? If you fail the first 5 times, who cares? As long as you're getting enjoyment out of trying and learning, and then once you succeed, it's that much more gratifying. So some sort of 100% cotton material, like I said, denim works really, really well. The next couple items, a Bic lighter, and this is just some cotton balls that you would just kind of soak in Vaseline. And why bring these? We're going out to practice bushcraft. We're going to find bark and cattail heads and all these things, and I'm going to make my fire just using the stuff I find in the woods. Well, what if you can't on your first couple tries? You're going to get frustrated. You're not going to be able to do some of the other kind of bushcrafty stuff that you might want to attempt if you don't have a fire. Bring a lighter. Bring some cotton balls of Vaseline. That way, if you can't get your fire going, you don't get frustrated and you just walk out of the woods and say, I'm done with this, I can't do this. Use these, start your fire, and start trying some of the other things. Like I said, making char cloth, boiling your water in your container, that sort of stuff. This is supposed to be fun. This isn't some sort of all or nothing challenge. What's the saying? If at first you don't succeed, try again. That's what this is all about. Learning stuff, trying stuff, failing, and then ultimately succeeding. The only thing I don't have here that I would recommend is bringing in some sort of first aid kit. You're working with knives, you're working with fire, burns, cuts, they're most likely going to happen. And I think everything here, if you're getting a cheap poly tarp and just using denim that you already have, most everybody has cotton balls somewhere in their house. A Bic lighter's $1. A knife is, a Bushcraft black or a bush lore, somewhere in the neighborhood of $40, depending on where you find it online. As I said, a good ferro rod's going to set you back about 15. This particular canteen set was, I think, 20. A paracord is 5. You're under $100 for a good kit. And this stuff's not just, it's good enough for right now. This stuff's going to last you a really, really long time. The poly tarp, maybe not, but poly tarps are like $5. They're under 10. The stainless steel container is going to last you a long time. The Bushcraft black or the bush lore is going to last a long time. Everything here is going to last a long time. You're going to have to replenish your paracord. You can try and do everything without cutting this paracord, but that's most likely not going to happen. You're going to have to cut it if you're working on lashings and knots and that sort of thing. So, that's the kit. That's all you need to go out and spend a few hours out in the woods, building fire, practicing putting up tarp shelters, maybe, if you want to get into practicing making, more, natural shelters using, trees and debris, those types of things. At that point, maybe you want to get yourself an axe or a good saw. But, that's down the road. Let's learn some of the basic stuff first. Let's learn notches. Let's learn knots. Let's learn fire starting. That sort of stuff. The very basics, very basic things. And, along with that is, bringing in some resources. Buy a book, research some stuff online, print some stuff out on how to tie certain knots. There's going to be certain knots that you're going to need to learn how to tie, to lash poles together to make tripods, to, hanging a tarp, to, as you get into it, making a raised bed, that sort of thing. So you're going to learn knots. You're going to learn notches. You notice there's no tent stakes here to help put the tarp up. Learn how to make a very simple tent stake. Sharpening to a point, putting an L notch or a 7 notch in the stick to make proper tent stakes. So that's why that stuff isn't here. Let's learn it. And you're in a situation where you don't need to have it. You're in a situation where you're going to try and learn it. So just a short video. This is the kit. This is going to be, I guess, episode 1 in this series. Next, we're going to be looking at, as I kind of touched on here briefly, some of the stuff you're going to do when you're out there to make it enjoyable and to help learn some of the skills. This is PAoutdoors. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Comment on this video as far as what some of the skills that you think are, you know, kind of paramount to learn for bushcraft stuff, especially for, you know, people just getting into it. And next video I can touch on some of those. Subscribe to my channel. That's always appreciated. Like the video. Get outdoors. Enjoy yourself. But remember, be safe out there. Thanks for watching.